Everybody, this is Mr. Giles, and today I am going to do a tutorial on how to put text behind something. In this case, Chuck Norris, the world's greatest martial artist. Still living, maybe? I don't know. Jackie Chan's pretty great. Bruce Lee was really good too. That's for another debate. So here we go. What we're going to do is how do we get this picture to look like this picture? Where we actually have text that is behind, and actually if you look, it's in the real picture, it's in the original picture. And how do we get it like that? And I'm going to show you that process. And this is good for, I'm doing this in the middle of a pivot lesson. You can take items, create your own custom PNGs that you then import into Pivot. In this case, we're just having fun with text in the background, but you can also, like I said, use this to incorporate it into Pivot. So let's get started. First, you're going to find a picture of Chuck Norris. I found this picture. It's from Know Your Meme, and it's basically a very simple picture of him with a background in a room. And this is for any picture that you can't find, like a nice clean white background or a PNG version where the background is gone. And so I take that picture, I paste it in, Control V, it will paste it in. And then the first thing I did is I actually hit the duplicate layer button. So now I'll show you. Let me do that step. Okay, so I take the picture, right click, copy image. Then I go back and I will just start a new one, and I'm going to paste the image in. If when you paste it in, you notice a white space around it or it's smaller than it should be, you just click the crop button and it will crop it down to the selection, the correct size. Also, if you go File, New, and you've already copied something, it almost always makes a new image the exact size. All right, phase two. We're going to take that picture and we are going to, once we've duplicated it, we're going to turn off the bottom layer so that we can see through. And the way you're going to know if you did this right is you're going to get your eraser. We're going to set our eraser to size 30, okay? And then you're going to erase the corner only right now. And if you can see the checkerboard, you did it right. If you don't see the checkerboard, chances are you just forgot to turn off the bottom layer. So you want to make sure that that's turned off so that you're seeing what I'm seeing. Okay? Now, we are going to erase a border around Chuck to, well, I just want you to do this. I just want you to try and do this. So I'm going to start that process. I'm going to start erasing, and I'm going to let go of the mouse button every couple clicks here so that I don't, if I make a mistake, oops, I can hit Control Z and I only lose the last little bit I did. If you hold on to the mouse button the whole time, if I'm going all the way around and then I go like that, I have to Control Z and I lose all of the work I just did. So I'm gonna let go of my mouse, and then you should end up with it looking like this. You have like basically a halo around your Chuck Norris plus the little bit that we erased in the corner. That is going to give us the ability to easily delete these other sections. So what I like to use is the magic wand, and if I click the magic wand here, first, I think it starts off, it may not select everything because it's not all a solid color. The magic wand instantly selects everything that's the same color. So in this case, you're going to increase the tolerance. And right now it looks like it's got everything. And if I were to hit delete right now, you'd see there's a little outline left. So I'm going to Control Z to undo. I'm going to drag the tolerance until it gets to the point where it's jumping over into the rest of the picture. Oops, let me try selecting again. Okay, so I'm going to lower it right there. The second that it loses those other things, and when I hit delete, it gets everything. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Now you're going to notice it's not going to select these light. I'm going to select the light area first, and I'm going to increase the tolerance to really get that light area. Hit delete. I'm going to do that same with these two. I'm going to hit delete there, and I think that's going to get rid of the rest of it. And we should have a pretty clean picture. If you want to be 100% sure, I fill a new layer with like green, and I just pour that on there like a green screen, and I look, oh, there, I didn't get that spot. So I just get my eraser, go back to the background layer, and I just do that. Now you can hand erase that whole layer. You know, there's lots of different ways to approach this, but hold on. There's lots of different ways, but I like that way. And then I can look at the head here. If it looks a little, I might smooth the head out a little bit. So I do work at a school, so there are lots of bells going on. Okay, so now we've got our Chuck Norris, and now all we need to do is add a layer behind him, and it will look like he's in the original picture, but that there's text. So we add a new layer. drag it down, and we select the text tool. Now what I did is I like Impact. It's a thick font, but you can choose any font you want. I guess I'll just choose this one here. And I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger, and I start typing, and I'm gonna choose I'm gonna choose white for right now. So I'm gonna select the white square. I've selected layer 4. I'm gonna even name that text so that I know I'm paying attention. And I'm just gonna write Chuck Norris. I'm gonna put the caps lock on, Chuck Norris. Now, I'm gonna move this layer to the top so I can see it. Okay, Chuck Norris. I'm just gonna keep, oh wow, it just kind of moved there. Oh, let's try again. Delete the layer, I'll start over. I had a technical error. Let's try it one more time here. Chuck Norris, Chuck Norris. Oh, that's pretty good. It fits perfect. So that's Era's bold ITC. You can choose any font and try to fit it so it kind of evenly fits on the screen. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, this is a really cool trick. I'm going to use the, well, it's not a trick. I'm going to use the rectangle select tool, and I'm going to select right around Chuck Norris. Now, first when I select, it's not really around it, so I'm going to use the white arrow, and that lets me lock my selection in much closer. And I'm going to get it as close to the letters as I can, and I'll let you zoom in to see this. Ooh, very close, Chuck. So that it's just around the word. And I'm gonna hit Control C and then Control V. Now it is just pasted, and I'm gonna zoom back out. And when I put my mouse over this, you'll see I have a couple options. I can tilt it. There's my copy, Control Z. I have a 4-way arrow, and I have this thing. I honestly am not 100% sure what that does, so I'm not gonna mess with that. But I know the 4-way arrow lets me move it down. I'm gonna move it down, and then I'm gonna line it up. And I can use the arrow keys, and I can just do the exact position, and I'm gonna stick it right underneath. Now, I'm gonna zoom back out. I'm gonna select both of those. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. I'm gonna use the white arrow key, which allows me to change my selection. And I'm gonna Control C. I'm gonna Control V. I'm gonna zoom out. I'm gonna drag it down. Now I've got 2, and I'm gonna fill the whole screen with this Chuck Norris text. So I'll be back in a moment after I finish that. Okay, now I've got Chuck Norris covering the whole screen, and now all I have to do is drag this layer underneath the picture, and you have the text behind Chuck Norris. And if you want to play with the opacity, you can double click on the text layer, and you grab the opacity, which is how see-through something is, or opaque, and I can make it a little more see-through like that. If you want to get really fancy, we can do the coloring, and I'll show you some tricks with the coloring. But that's the basics. And you could put anything behind him. You could put another face behind him. I could duplicate the layer of Chuck Norris. In fact, I'll do that. That sounds like fun. I'm going to click on the background layer. I'm going to make a duplicate. So now I have 2 of the Chuck, and then I have 2 of Chuck. In fact, I could take that layer and put it behind him, and then I could shrink it. I'm going to hold the Shift key, and then I could take it and sort of like tilt it like this, and have like little Chuck sticking his head over. I'm going to make him smaller. Make it scary. There we go. There's little Chuck peeking over big Chuck's shoulder. And let's get to the text. But you can play with a lot of things with that, and do something and show me what you do. Here's what I did with the text. I'm going to go ahead and make this layer bright again. If you use the magic wand tool and you click the Shift key, what it does is, as long as your plus sign, I'm going to zoom in so you can see this. Your plus sign needs to be inside the letter. If I'm outside of the letter, it's going to select all the area outside of that layer. Oops, I'm not on the right layer. If I hold Shift and click, oh, that's weird. Let's try that again. Oh, I think it's because I changed them to opaque. I'm going to make them not opaque. Let's try this. Okay. Okay, well, I just figured it out, guys. Here's why it didn't work. You have to have the opacity of a layer set to all the way to 255. Otherwise, you can't select. So now, if I click, like for example, if I just click on the letter U, it selects the letter U. If I hold Shift and click on this color white, okay, it's going to select all the white on the layer, which selects all the text, which can give you some really cool options. For example, now that those are all selected, if I get a paintbrush and I just make a nice big paintbrush, when I paint, it will paint exactly over just the stuff that's selected. So you can make a set of stripes. You can color individual words, like you could just focus on Chuck, and then maybe Norris, like that. And if I hit Control D to deselect, you can see what I did. There's like an infinity of options. I'm going to show you one more that I think is really fun. If you go to Gradient and I have a selection and I click and drag, I can get this gradient of color. And then Control D to deselect, and I zoom out so you can see the whole thing, and voila, you have magic text behind an image. And there you go. That's how you do something like that, where you put text behind someone that's in a picture and you make it look like it's in that area. And then I can make this, I can change the opacity now so you can sort of see the background too, and it gives it even more of a, hey, how did that text get there moment. All right, thanks a lot. This is Mr. Giles. This is kind of a long tutorial, but I think there's a lot of great stuff in there. And I've got to give a shout out to Barry, who came up with this idea in class during period 3. Thanks, Barry. Have a great day, everybody.